What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast.
If you want to be successful, look inside.
We don't like sitting in the discomfort.
Then all of a sudden that day came when I got $20 and 2 free drinks to do a show, and I was like, oh shit, here we go, baby. You know?
Thank God she hasn't caught a chicken yet, because we'll tear his head off.
Don't be soft.
That patience is key.
If all my friends are winning, then it's going to make me want to win more.
What is up, guys, and welcome back to the Sweat It Out podcast. Today we have a very special guest all the way in Austin, Texas. He's a coach, host of Align Podcast, author of the Align Method, and founder of the Align Method online program. Guys, please help us welcome the one and only Aaron Alexander. What's up, brother?
How's it going? Have you guys ever had a unspecial guest?
We always bring the specialist of the specialists.
That's a very good question. I don't know.
I find him to be entirely unimpressive. Let's begin the conversation.
You're still special to us.
Yeah.
Thank you. I feel validated.
So how's it going over there, man? How's everything been with you?
In Austin, Texas, Austin's good. It's rainy, which has been interesting. So that allows more time to write and just working on finding a place, and just got a car, and like the whole transition into essentially recreating life in another geographical location is a great opportunity. And it's a great opportunity to kind of like leave behind what wasn't necessarily serving and step into the parts that you want to lean into. So it's been a part of the process.
Amen. I actually just went through a pretty big move myself. I moved down to Puerto Rico about a month ago, get away from Miami and kind of get to a little calmer area of the world. And it's been a blessing for me too. I would love to ask you, how have you, because it's not always easy, right? It can be pretty stressful sometimes, at certain aspects of the move. How have you best been able to handle that and, really try to keep your mindset positive as you're making this shift, trying to find a place to live, going across? I mean, I know that you were in Tulum for a while, and then at Cali and traveling around a lot. So how have you been able to really keep yourself going through this big transition you're going through?
It's not entirely an easy thing to do, to maintain focus on the path that you've been on and you have the vision to continue on, while kind of taking the ground out from underneath you and creating the space for something different, transition. But I think it can be an exercise of sorts in, finding home within yourself. And that's like in Vipassana meditation. You guys familiar with that at all?
Not really.
Vipassana. Vipassana is notorious for being like that 10-day silent sit that, most people kind of, maybe a lot of people that I know are like, oh, I'd like to do that at some point, but it sounds like, kind of a major commitment. And in Vipassana meditation, essentially you wake up at like 4:30 in the morning. There's this fellow that cruises around with a little bell and wakes everybody up, and you like pull yourself out of bed and you just start meditating. And then you do an hour sit, and then you take a little break, and then you do an hour sit, and you take a little break. You do that pretty much all day. In order to get to the point with Vipassana meditation where you're allowed to take the walking meditation course, you need to go through 3 separate consecutive 10-day sits where your practice and finding that, that stillness or your center or balance, whatever words, you need to have time in just that seated position before they open up the course for you to like, okay, now we can walk, and I think in traveling, it's kind of like an advanced procedure to be on the road and also be able to maintain that balance. And so it's in a way, it's kind of like adding more weight to the barbell. So cool. You could figure out how to feel comfortable or at home or safe or centered or any of that stuff, or not. Maybe having a home you still haven't figured that out, which I'm still in process with. But then you add the extra weight of like, okay, let's strip all of the stuff that you found to be normal away and still maintain that, and still be a coach, and still be a business owner, and still be, a man, and like be in your center, is been work, but I think it's within that I've found many micro opportunities when I feel myself starting to feel a little frazzled to like come back, and maybe it's taking a walk, maybe it's going to the gym, maybe it's going for a swim, maybe it's doing actually like a seated meditation thing, maybe it's doing breath work. All of those have been really valuable anchors for me that I've leaned on more than typical.
Yeah, for sure. I can agree to a lot of those points. Luckily, I have the ability to go for some pretty epic walks and hike some really nice trails in Puerto Rico. And it's interesting when you do get yourself out of that comfort zone, right? Like I was so used to being here, especially in Miami, where I was living on South Beach, where, if I wanted to go to if I wanted to eat something, I had, the option of picking any type of cuisine and in 10 minutes to have all my food ready. There. Uber Eats, no problem. If I want to go somewhere, I'll take an Uber, go. And now living on the west coast of Puerto Rico, it's, we don't have Uber Eats. We don't have taxis. There's no Uber. Most of the restaurants aren't even open all week long. So it's like crazy. It's a completely different type of lifestyle, but I kind of feel like I needed that challenge, right? I needed to kind of buck the normal trend of what I was doing here day to day. And I wonder if you kind of feel the same way.
Well, there's I referenced in my book, The Align Method, the restaurateur that founded Momofuku. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that he coined is doing, paraphrasing, something along the lines of doing things the long, hard, stupid way, and the value in inconvenience. And so there's certain things where, like, I just got back from Mexico, as you guys know, and there was a lot of times where I was like, God dang, it'd be really awesome to just be able to go into my Uber or my Lyft and have some random human just swoop me up to take me wherever I'd like within like 4 to 6 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like super cool. And then because I don't have that option, it's like, okay, well, what are my options? I was like, well, I can just stay here, and be comfortable with that. Maybe I could walk, maybe I could get a bike, maybe I could get a scooter, there's this, so when I'm traveling, or any person is traveling, there's a lot of different ways to travel, and there's no correct way to travel. They're all just different. And if all a person has exposure to is one specific way to travel, say they just take an airplane from point A to point B, that's great, super efficient. You get in the airport, you take your shoes off. Now you get like a cotton swab up your butt or whatever for COVID.
What airports are you going into?
They don't do that to you? I've clearly been duped. So that's like, cool. That's great. That's super efficient, but it's not the Momofuku way. The Momofuku way would be like, let's get a bike, and put some panniers on it. And, we're going to get a tent and maybe bring a hammock, and I'm bringing a harmonica and maybe a little ukulele, and I'm going to ride across the country. It's going to take me 5 months. It's like incredibly inefficient. But the experience in biking your ass across the country is something that you'll think about and reflect on and maybe write a book about. It's like, wow, that was an experience. And so I think that's kind of a reframe when things start to feel maybe inefficient. Mm-hmm. You're like, okay, like where's the opportunity in this inefficiency?
I love that you brought that up, right? Because there's truly no right or wrong, right? And when you can do it, like you said, the Momofuku way, it's like you really do get to sit down or get to experience those micro experiences throughout the journey until you get to the destination you want to get to. Mm-hmm. And it's just really interesting how sometimes, like, we're just so rushed to, like, we want to get there already. We want to get there. We want to get there already. And like you said, for somebody who's never experienced, the other side, they might not know what they're missing, right? Mm-hmm. And most of the time they look at the other way around. They're like, well, you're going to be late over there. Or you're not going to be able to get there and enjoy all this other stuff, more time because you didn't get there fast enough. Well, What if I want to enjoy all these little things in between until I get there? And I like that.
Yeah.
I like the way you said that, because I also think it's important for people to also like take the time to slow it down and bring it back and understand like there could be more to it. You know, you just got to allow yourself to be able to dive into that.
Well, that's like the paradox of success, which isn't, I don't think that might be a term someplace, but when people arrive to the point, and I don't think this is new information, so I apologize for maybe sounding cliche here, but when a person arrives to their goal, they reach the top of the mountain. You know, this is very common with astronauts. They go to space, Olympic gold medalists. You know, you won your ring, you won the Super Bowl. Oftentimes, you just sold your company. Now you got $80 million in the bank. And you're like, that sensation of, I've done it. Like, life is like, I'm healed. Like, life is finally put together. I've arrived. Oftentimes at that point, there's a deep depression that follows, because they had that carrot that they've convinced themselves, consciously or subconsciously, that when they arrive to that point, they will feel fulfilled. They will feel happy. They will feel content. They will feel safe. They'll feel all those very natural human urges, like that deep down, I think we yearn ultimately, you know, sensation from our parents. And they get to that point, and it's this false summit. And then there's kind of like the floor falls out from underneath them. Like, I don't know what to do now. So I think it's most things are paradoxical. And I think success is also a paradox in that way, you know, where it's like the thing that you want, that you think that you want, it's very likely not what it's all cracked up to be. So the sooner a person can get to the point, I'm very much in process with this. I by no means have arrived in any transcendent point of like, hear me now, you know, speaking deep guru wisdom. I'm like, no, I'm right in process here. The sooner a person can really get to the point of enjoying the journey, more cliche stuff, but it's legit. And I've talked to, I mean, a lot of the people that I've gotten to work with, I've been grateful and humble and just impressed and surprised and in awe of some of the people that I've had the opportunity to work with, of, you know, world famous athletes or actors or various different folks. And from my outside perspective, looking at them, I think, wow, they must have everything sorted out. Like, what can I do to be of service in this person's life? They've got, you know, a Lamborghini in the driveway. They've got all the money in the world. They've got the trophy wife. They've got like 6 houses in various different exotic locations around the world. Everybody knows their name. And then you meet them and you kind of get past that facade, and you're like, you're dealing with the exact same stuff that everyone else is. Mm. And oftentimes you actually even have more stress than, you know, the Argentinian goat farmer, because you have more material stuff to now defend that bandwidth that could have gone into introspection, you know, finding like inner peace, more cliche words. Now all of a sudden it spreads out to everything else. And now we can go into this protective place. And you're like, okay, how do I hold all this stuff? And it's just a new game. Mm. So I think within all of that, it's like the sooner a person really can come into a place of genuinely just enjoying the ride. I think that's the trick.
Mm-hmm. And you know, innately, right? We as human beings, we yearn for that, you know, social connection, right? You mentioned all of the amazing people that you've been able to meet by kind of taking the path less traveled, you know, and you don't really get that a lot of the time. You use the example of, you know, getting on an airplane for the convenience. I mean, we were just on an airplane,
Literally,
you know,
we're just on
like 4 hours ago, and you go and they scan they scan your boarding pass, and you don't even really pay attention to the person that's scanning the boarding pass. You don't get to know who that person is. The flight attendants, the pilots, you know, the people who are loading the luggage in, like,
even the person sitting
yeah, the people sitting
next
to you, right? You're so focused on getting to the end destination that you lose sight of all these amazing people around you, right? Yep. And when you do take the path less traveled, you have to, like, you know, we'll use that example of biking across country. No matter how prepared you feel like you are, right? You're not prepared enough for that journey. You're going to need help from somebody eventually along the way, right? And it's those connections that allow you to really feel, valued and feel like your heart and your body are full of love and energy, because it's something that we've been doing for hundreds of thousands of years, right? Connecting with other people.
Yeah, it taps into your ancestral biological self, pulls on those toggles. And it's once again, more ironies and paradoxes. What Western culture has done such an immaculate job at is creating an excessive amount of convenience.
Big time.
And within that convenience, and also a pressure, especially on it's been around for men for a long time, and now it's spilled over to women as well, with like feminism and such. Of, you need to be completely sovereign, you need to be completely autonomous, you need to be both the balance of masculine and feminine, and like have all those traits. You have to have money, and you also have to be nurturing, and you have to be a listener, and you have to be a doer, and you have to be all of it. You have to be your own little universe that encapsulates what ultimately leaning into a tribe naturally would do.
Right. It's a great way of putting it.
It's a great way of putting it.
So when you're in that place of like, I'm vulnerable right now. Like, I'm out here. I don't have keys to get in my Airbnb or whatever. Maybe I don't have an Airbnb. I just got dropped off by some taxi driver that speaks a language that I don't understand. And I'm a little scared. And I could really use a hand. And if you can humble yourself in that moment, all of a sudden it's like it creates this channel. It's this opening to actually have a deep, meaningful connection with another person and start to see the beauty in the world. But if you don't have that channel open, because you've done such a good job at being this sovereign, autonomous,
jack of all trades,
immaculate blend, Shiva Shakti, Ida Pingala, light, dark, like this idea of what you think you're supposed to be,
floating off the ground.
Yeah, you never get to ask for help.
So true. I gotta ask.
Get to ask for help.
Yes.
It's funny that you say that, because it's like most people, and taking everything out, like most people are scared to ask for help, or they feel like they have to take the responsibility fully on for themselves, or have to figure out every single time. And the easiest thing to do is ask for help. The worst they can tell you is no, and the best thing they can tell you is yes.
Yeah.
And then if they tell you no, go ask help from the next person.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and you see, like I feel like the groups of people or the partnerships where people find, not just monetary success, but happiness and camaraderie and all this stuff. It's usually complete opposites, right? Like Mendez and I are complete opposites. And like, I'm very structured and organized, and he's like, fuck it, let's just go and we'll figure it out later. And I feel like it's that balance, where you can rely on someone, or you can go to them and be like, listen, like, this isn't really my strong suit, like, but I know that you're much better, suited for maybe this component of what we're doing. Like, I could really benefit from you being a part of this. You will end up getting a much more well-rounded approach or package, in the long run, as compared to just, trying to, allow your ego to tell you that you can do it on your own all the time.
And then you guys would understand this now doing interviews with people. It seems like you've done, how many episodes have you done?
You'll be probably like 160 something episodes.
Yeah. So in that time of 160 recorded conversations, you don't know where that person's coming from. You schedule a thing a month out, and then all of a sudden maybe they have a separation in their marriage, the week before, or they, whatever, they could be sick, or like whatever things could be, and they come in and are just like, oh. So the quicker that you can create rapport with that person, the sooner we can actually get into something meaningful to share with each other and with an audience, and et cetera. And I think a really great tool for people in business or relationship or podcast or really anything, just, walking down the street and grabbing coffee, and you just want to feel connected to something and not just be in your own little bubble, which is okay to be in your bubble as well. But the sooner you can lead with authentic vulnerability, the sooner it opens up the space for the next person to do the same. And now we're kind of playing this badminton back and forth of like, okay, you'll be as available as I am, and then I'll be as available as you are. And now we're like, wow, that was cool. Like we really connected in that 5-minute exchange or 30-minute or hour or whatever it may have been. And that I think ends up leading to fulfillment. But if you're always navigating the world with this story or idea that you need to have it all put together, you need to be all the things I was mocking before, and I don't need anything from anybody. I think in that place, and I'm successful, I'm cool, which ultimately those are, I think, tools to be loved. You want to be loved. You want to feel validated. You want to feel like good enough. Maybe not you, but me and a lot of people. Ultimately, again, I think from our parents. But the sooner you can lead with that authentic vulnerability, the sooner you can actually have a real conversation. It's a very, very important life skill that I'm once again still in process of sorting out.
Yeah, and it always blows my mind when people are like, man, I can't believe, like, I listened to your podcast. I can't believe, like, you talked about that part of your life. Like, I would never do that. I'm like, but why would you never do that? Why would you never talk about something that shaped you to be who you are today, right? Good or what you perceive to be bad,
Yeah.
Why not?
Culture plays a huge
Why not
role.
talk about it?
Culture, depending what ethnicity group you come from too, plays a huge role, right?
Right.
Especially in the Hispanic culture, it's very like, the man, you're macho. You can't show, your sensitive side. Like that's not allowed. Like you need to show your strong side 24/7.
I grew up in a house of 15 women. So for me, it was never a problem to like show my emotions or do anything like that. But then, I guess on the flip side of that,
there's the other side.
Yeah. Yep.
So
I struggled to be assertive,
like,
early on in my life. It was very difficult for me. I was definitely the kid who was a huge pushover. I could never stand up for myself. It took a very long time to get to the point where I could find that balance between I need to be there for myself, but also be there for other people as well.
Yeah, you don't want to be a pussy, but you also don't want to be a dick.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, I think what is that? Is that Team America World Police? You remember that? I'd rather be a dick than a pussy or an asshole. Dicks fuck pussies and assholes.
So good.
Exactly.
So good.
See, you understand me. See, that's rapport building.
Yeah, I think there's a time and a place for every. I know. Again, we're gonna fucking throw out so many cliches during this episode. I feel like, but there really is a time and a place for everything. If you need to be a dick, be a dick. I mean, not forever. But in a moment, if you need to assert your dominance because you feel like you need to, okay, I get it. But then on the other side, be compassionate. At the end of that,
It's coming.
Leadership too.
Yeah, certainly. It's coming into authenticity with your present state to allow whatever that state is to breathe and transform and go to the next stage. If you come from a place of repression or the belief that like, oh, this feeling that I'm having, I feel like I kind of feel like a pussy. Or I feel like a dick. Like I feel like I'm being kind of mean right now. It's like, cool, like be mean. Like that's what you need. Like feel it out. Don't operate from this place of repression and guilt. Like feel it. You're gonna get feedback. And then within that feedback, there's the opportunity for growth.
So much truth to that.
Yeah, but you got to be willing to actually be with the thing that you are. And what are you? The only way to get cleaner with that concept, because that's a big nebulous thing to say, like, great, cool, like, who am I? What's my passion? It's like, oh God, like there's more pressure. It's like, I don't know. Like I'm mixed up. It's like, perfect, now we're talking. You're mixed up. Okay, proceed from here.
Yeah, and I really think, but it's about asking yourself these questions, right? And about having these honest discussions with other people like we're doing right now, or having these discussions with yourself and being comfortable having to answer that difficult question, right? That nobody really likes to answer. Like who do you really think, or who do you feel like you are, and who do you feel like you need to be, or want to be? Well,
and whose story is that?
Right.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even then, like, what are the things I really like to do? And what are the things I don't like to do?
Well, what if my family doesn't, my whole family's in upstate New York. Oh, I can't believe you're moving to South Florida. I can't believe you're going to move to Puerto Rico. Well, why can't you believe that? Because it's not your, again, right? It's not your story. It's not what you would have done,
It's like allowing a child to fall and skid their knee or whatever. You know, it's like, so you could, or not letting them touch the iron. Like if they reach out, like, Richie, you're like, ooh, this is gonna suck. This is gonna suck. You know, but it's like, but they're gonna learn good. Like this is gonna be a lesson. You know, or being in the overprotective place, or always kind of keeping them inside of their little bubble. So true. Eventually, they're gonna leave your bubble. Or you create a dependent person, which is a failure as a parent.
Right. Well, and it's funny too. It's, you know, people are like, well, what if you don't like it down there? What if you don't like, you know, what if you fail?
So
like,
what if you don't?
Okay, then I fucking fail and I don't like it and I learn that I don't like it, but at least that thought in the back of my head of like, what if, you know, regret.
Yeah. It's like the this is going to just be a bunch of like metaphors and allegories, but that's okay. So thinking of, there's a guy called Boyd Vardy in South Africa that he does lion tracking safaris with people. He tracks lions, goes and finds them in their caves and whatnot, and like, you know, he's following their droppings and their footprints, and you know, he's doing this journey with people. It's really cool. And he has a book where he describes that and essentially how it's metaphorical for you know, your journey of life, tracking whatever your passion is, or your why, or you know, whatever your carrot is. And the way that he describes going into a cave or going into a potential place where the lions might be sleeping or living, and them not being there, that's just the path of not here. So it's not that you're off the path. It's not that you failed. You're right on the path. You're on the path of not here. So by your parents, metaphoric parents or literal parents, or maybe your self-parenting system, allowing you the spaciousness to go into that cave and say, oh, definitely wasn't anything there. You're cool. Like that's progress. You know, and another metaphor, if that's, you know, too wishy-washy, be think if you're like sweeping a house, you know, there's a criminal, you know, someone's robbing your house and you're going through. I'm in Texas, so you can, you know, it's like legal to have guns and all that stuff. Yeah. I'm actually getting my concealed carry thing out here.
Let's go.
I'm about to get mine soon too.
Yeah, it'd be very interesting.
I gotta get mine.
That's a whole separate conversation.
I know, the two-way conversation. Yeah, we could dive deep.
But within that, you're sweeping through the house and you go through the bathroom, and there's no robber there. It's like, you don't go through that and say, oh, like I failed. I didn't find the bad guy. It's like, no. Like, it's like, great. Guest bathroom, check, done. Move forward. You know, and so I think that's just reframing one's perspective on failure, and, you know, going to Puerto Rico and finding out it was not awesome or was awesome, or, you know, whichever.
Luckily it was awesome. Luckily it was a great decision.
That's great. Yeah. You know, and maybe at some point something will happen that's not awesome, and that's great. Sure. Yep. You know, and then you'll pivot from there. But it's the story that you're running, and your perspective and the filter that you're perceiving your experience through that matters. And that's the only thing that you actually have any level of sovereignty over or with. It's everything else. It's like, if you wrap yourself, it's like people that get hopped up on like Bitcoin went up 300% in 6 hours or something. It's like, it doesn't matter. If that's what hops up your dopamine, serotonin, you know, neurochemistry.
Guys, that shit's gonna hit down again, and then it's gonna go back up again.
Yeah. So what you're experiencing there, and you can bear witness to it, and you can see it with people when you see like money signs in people's eyes. And I've had this. I've had it with Bitcoin. I've had it with lots of things, where you can see, you can feel it. Oh, it's like bubbling up. I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get the money.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like that sensation that you're having. If you're really in that, like that's like you, like that's the consuming sensation. You think that that's you, then you are absolutely setting yourself up for the reciprocal sensation on the other side when the pendulum swings.
Yeah, it's you know, it's a fine line balancing act, right? Between like how much joy do I really need from this one thing without focusing on anything else versus what happens if like you said, the pendulum swings and it goes in the other direction. It's not so advantageous for me anymore.
And understanding that there's not going to be a balance really ever. It's always going to be a little bit more swayed to one side than the other. Yeah.
Well, the balance comes from inside.
Yeah. It's a great way of framing it.
That's the only balance. Everything else is just storms and weather, and there's no control over anything that's happening from the outside. Ram Dass talks about, if someone does something to you, which is, that's a story too, the idea that someone did anything to you. But if someone did something that like pissed you off, it offended you, it made you feel insecure, it made you feel whatever, they cussed you out, they punched you in the face. So they're like, oh, like that person. The way that he described it that I thought was really interesting is like they didn't do anything to you. Like that's like they were just like a tree. So if you're walking through the woods and a tree grows in a funny way, you don't look at that tree and want to change it. You don't look at that tree. It's just like, oh, like that. Who does that tree think he is? How dare he just strutting around the woods with branches all squiggly? You're like, oh, it's just a tree. Like that tree's indifferent to my experience. The only individual in this scenario that has any semblance of control over my experience is the filter that I choose. I'll back down off of my like Eckhart Tolle.
No, it's been great. We love it.
We love it. I love that you mentioned filters too, because like that's something we all do, right? Place filters on everybody, right? Or especially when it comes to your parents and friends and relatives, we all put this filter in front of them, and before we even see them, right? You're already getting triggered because you're like, well, I already know what's gonna happen when I see them, and it's gonna be like this, and it's gonna be this kind of experience, and you create it.
You perpetuate it. There's a term, a psychological term for that called the Pygmalion effect. The Pygmalion effect essentially it comes from an old, I think Greek mythological tale of Pygmalion was this sculptor, stonemason, and he really wanted a girlfriend. He wanted like to have like his
dream girl.
Ideal, yeah. And then once a year, there's essentially like their version of Christmas where you get to ask the goddess for a thing. And he's with the goddess. I'm like paraphrasing the story, so I apologize if someone like really knows Greek mythology and they're like, wow, he's really messing this up. But the foundation of it's sound. So he asked the goddess for one thing. He says, I want a girl, a woman, a wife in the expression of my ivory, whatever he calls her, my ivory vision, my love, this beautiful statue, female statue that he created. And then the next day wakes up and there's this living, breathing expression of his ivory statue. And she's there, like the goddess gave him the wish. And the psychological concept with that, the Pygmalion effect, is he created with his hands the vision of the girl, and then the girl comes to life. We're doing that with each other. If you have an idea of who I am, you'll start to kind of like tune who I am to this conversation. If I have an idea of who you are, or in a relation, in a podcast it might be a little bit less because it's like, it's a little more superficial. But say you're in a relationship with somebody, you have a story of who that person is, you'll start to see those traits come out. One, because you have your filter of how you see them, but then they'll start acting those things out. You think somebody's a criminal. This is a primary issue with the criminal justice system. When you treat a criminal like a criminal, they become more like a criminal. If you treat a criminal like a person with dignity and respect, and someone that's absolutely has the potential to be a valuable person in society. Like, I see you, man. Like, I see why you robbed that place or why you mugged that lady or whatever. It's like, I get it. And that's not who you are. I see who you are. That person goes, whoa, okay. And then they start to navigate different from that vision that you had. It's like you're sculpting each other and you're sculpting yourself. This shit's deep. Holy shit.
Yeah.
Holy
Imagine
shit.
if we had been smoking weed this whole time. We would have been.
Damn.
No, but it's, you're spot on with that. I mean,
bombs.
like
Truth
some,
bombs.
I'm not, I wouldn't say I'm like the most emotional person, but what gets me every time is like anytime I'm on social media and I end up see like, one of those videos. I mean, you were in LA for a while, right? The homeless population there is out of control, and it's such a norm there, right? That people just overlook them. They think, oh, they're all drug addicts. They're all gonna, they're all just gonna waste money on alcohol and crack and heroin and whatever it may be. And it's like, not all of them are like. Some people just go through a shitty time in their life, right? And if you were able to uplift them and give them some resources in order to make their life a little better in the short term, they're gonna take that and run with it, right? And that's. Those types of videos like always kind of like warm my heart and make me go, okay, maybe I should shift my perspective on people a little bit instead of making these judgment calls so quickly.
And then ultimately it's like all this is very selfish, because by shifting your perspective on other people, you're shifting your level of empathy and compassion and acceptance of yourself. Mm-hmm. If you don't accept someone outside of you, it's a piece of yourself that they're triggering. Again, more cliche words, I apologize. But the root of a lot of the cliche new agey kind of stardust metaphysical words and language is totally legit. Mm-hmm. And then it gets kind of consumed by people that are using those as protective mechanisms to defend insecurity or their own business, and then those become like the spokesmodels for those ideas. Mm-hmm. I don't think I explained that perfectly, but you get what I'm saying.
Yes.
But the root, like even words like God, you hear God, you're like, oh, here we go.
Oh,
God.
fuck. Yep. Where's Westboro Baptist? Are they coming out here with a picket? With like, you're burning in hell.
Right.
You're like.
Yeah. Or authenticity, or doing the work, or vulnerability.
Yeah.
Or
you're going to tell me to align my chakras next? Like, yes, I can't, you're going to come out with like the Palo Alto and cleanse the room.
Bingo. And that's the value of comedians and culture. I think it's Heyoka is the term from Lakota tribe, which is the sacred clown. That was what Joe Rogan called one of his comedy specials, the sacred clown. And that's what the sacred clown does, is they have the permission, because nothing they can be said, everything they have a pass on everything, essentially. Because it's like, oh, I'm not serious, but I am. Like, I'm pointing at truth. And the only reason it's funny is because it's true. Mm-hmm. So I'm just right. I'm like millimeters from the edge of a fence as I'm speaking truth. Mm-hmm. If I'm too far from that fence, it's not funny. It doesn't strike anything. And so within all of those words that we're kind of poking fun at right now, that's because all of that's true. Like, it has been kind of bastardized, and there's all these weird new agey, fluffy, flaky barnacles that are attached to those concepts. But then beneath that, the root of them, it's actually like, oh, there's legit. You just have to find people that are actually embodying it, as opposed to using them as defense mechanisms to kind of walk around their insecurity.
I mean, like Andrew Schultz, right?
Myself.
Andrew Schultz is like a huge up and coming comedian, and he,
he's great.
But he does that like to perfection, right? He'll sit there, he'll work the crowd, he'll call people up, but he does it in such a way where you're like, fuck it, kind of. I could roll with it, without being offensive, but also like, kind of being offensive, to some
people. And then the lesson that is being able to do that with yourself, which is why it's such a blessing to grow up, on the East Coast instead of growing up in like, I don't know, like Northern California, where it's all like more, and both places are fine. They have their own value. East Coast, I would say, is more like masculine. Northern California is more like feminine. So it's more nurturing, listening, sweet, love. I baked you banana bread, and now we're going to go meditate on the beach and have sound bowls. Great.
Yeah, great.
Great. And then you go to the East Coast, it's like, I love you. Fuck you.
Is that familiar? Does that familiar? Yeah. Does that sound familiar, Mendes? I'm always telling him, I'm like, if I'm not making fun of you, it's because I actually don't like you.
You should start.
Like
if
I'm ragging on you, it's because I actually care about you a lot.
Today?
Yeah. Can I take a piss really quick?
Yes.
Do whatever you want, man.
Is that offensive to you guys?
No, not at all. Oh, no, I'm not.
All right, we're back.
Feeling better?
I'm completely drained.
Yeah, there we go.
That was getting intense.
You
You see me macking these Zevia colas. These can't be good for you. Terrible for the gut biome, but so delicious.
Yeah,
I enjoy one every now and then.
I know. I like chug
Should've seen
water
us
and
in
like
New York.
iced tea. Oh my god.
No.
No, you should have seen me in New York.
Bro, I've never seen somebody eat so much food in my entire life. Like a fucking the
Good.
garbage disposal from Flintstones. You know.
Are you a fidgeter? How do you maintain your weight?
So I'm pretty good during the week. I'm pretty good during, like, I'm not like he's seen me eat. I'll throw down when I'll throw down, I want to enjoy, but like I know when I gotta control myself, you know. So I just won't restrict myself from having something I really like. You know, that's how I am.
That's great. That's a great way to live. That's the fidgeting. There's a term. So we just spent the last 30 odd minutes talking about things that I really have minimal professional depth in. So thanks for entertaining that. The things that I actually spend more time, like, you know, speaking on and researching and, you know, writing book about, at some point it'll be books, is like exercise and movement and things more in that realm. And one of the things that might be supportive for people, and you might do and not realize it, is a term that you probably heard of called NEAT. Have you heard of that before? Non-exercise activity thermogenesis. It's just like the little fidgeting and getting up and down, and, you know, those little micro movements that you do throughout the day end up burning a lot of calories and also keeping your body, you know, just metabolically fit. It's not just calories in, calories out, as you guys already know. It's also, you know, hormonal function. It's also having supple connective tissue. You know, taking those joints through a full range of motion with regularity keeps them healthy and you know, continually in a healing process, getting the old stuff out and bringing the new good stuff in. And so one of the most effective things for people that are having issues with losing weight is just adding more of that non-exercise activity into your daily life. And the body thrives on that. You know, that's like, there's a woman called Joan Vernikos. She was a researcher at NASA for something like 40 years. And she specifically was tracking the health of astronauts in space. And what she found was that the astronauts that would go through regular bouts of exercise throughout the day would have dramatically less deleterious effects from zero gravity than those that would do like the blowout workout for 2 hours a day and then just kind of go into like floating for the rest of the day, which looks a lot like Western culture. You spend most of the day on the computer, or, you know, cell phoning and then Netflixing, and then you commute to some place that takes you 45 minutes and you're in that same position. The body really doesn't do well in that under those conditions. And so something people are interested in, losing weight, one of the best things that a person can do is starting to integrate more micro movements into their day.
Yep. Yeah,
So.
it's and you know, it's a funny point that you bring up, because I had a client recently that's like, you know, we need to, I focus on him with nutrition, and then one of my friends is, you know, does a lot of his movement stuff, has been training him for a while, and he's like, you know, I'm not losing any, I've kind of hit a plateau with my weight, and I've been stuck here for a while. And I'm like, okay, well, he's like, we need to completely change up my nutrition. I'm like, I mean, from the looks of it, unless you've been lying to me this whole time, which I doubt you've been doing, right? Looks like your nutrition is pretty squared away. What have you been doing on the movement side of things? He's like, well, I do my workout. I'm like, okay, and then what do you do?
Yeah.
You know, well, nothing. I'm like, you don't go for bike rides, you don't go for walks, you don't like do some mobility, just like, you know, do some glorified joint circles at least, or stretch or any. No, just the hour workout. I'm like, okay, well, you need to, you know, incorporate more movement throughout your day so that you can burn, you know, a lot of extra calories. And I can guarantee you you know, you'll start to see the types of body composition that you want to see. And sure enough, like a couple of weeks later,
Best in shape when you're doing floor shifts at Equinox.
just sprinting, picking up all the weights, putting them back. I miss it about in-person training though. Dead ass is like not having to put people's weights away for them. You know, I felt like I was.
That's fitness. So once again, going out, transitioning out of like the metaphysical, you know, emotional, feminine, masculine, whatever, getting into like fitness talk. It's still all the same stuff. So if you can start to change your filter and your lens on how you perceive fitness and what fitness actually means to you, and who is an athlete and who is not an athlete, and when am I training to be an athlete and when am I not? And you start to think like, every moment throughout the day really truly is an opportunity to do better. So the way that you are breathing right now is informing your entire physiology and your mental emotional state. If your breath is emphasized in the inhalation, maybe you're stuck in an inhalation, you can't really get that full like all the way out. Maybe your breath is up in your neck and your clavicles are raised up and your scalenes and your masters it's like you're breathing with your jaw. You're like, you're sending the information into your autonomic nervous system that you're stressed out. There's nothing wrong with stress. Stress is beautiful. Stress is like one of the best nootropic supplements you could ever possibly get. If you're stuck in that and you're just slamming coffee and nootropics all day long with no sleep, that's when the body starts to break down. So if the physical postural body is stuck in that position of fight, flight, panic, defense, stress, defeat, collapse, eventually is like the end of that story, then you're always under attack. And so you can start to check in with your physical postural patterns and say, all right, what's the quality of my breath right now? I get full breath. Wim Hof, all the way in, all the way out, all the way in, all the way out. Looking at your visual muscles. Your visual muscles are a continuation of your central nervous system. So you think of your spine and your brain is like, cool, that's the CNS, and then the periphery is everything else, or the appendicular. And it's like, no, you're like your eyes are literally, that's a continuation of that central nervous system. They're a continuation of your brain. And so when those eyes are myopically focused in on something, that's sending the signal that it's time to, be a little bit more stressed, to focus in, executive function, get stuff done. When your eyes zoom out into that panoramic view, that's an indication to your autonomic nervous system that's like, wow, like, cool, we're just taking it all in. We're in observation, 30,000 foot mode. And in that position, that's an indication to you that's like, okay, cool, like we can chill. And then all of a sudden a predator comes and woof, your vision straight out of panoramic, woof, right into focus. And that's an effective human being. So a person that's able to go straight out of parasympathetic, calm, rest, digest, chill, heal, right into sympathetic, get shit done, and then woof, right back into parasympathetic, like both sides of the coin are equally valuable, and your flexibility to flip back between those with ease, like that's going to be the most, the human with the most longevity, the human with the best cognitive function, the human with the best metabolic function. Like that's what makes a human healthy, is that ability to flip between those modes.
It's awesome that you brought that up, because I feel like, especially nowadays, obviously we're in such a fast-paced world where you see a lot of people in that, stressed, hyper-focused, just go, gotta get it done. And then you also see a lot of people where they're like, okay, now I gotta, some people are like, okay, I'm gonna go into stream, work on myself mode. I need to get myself out of this stressed out situation, then go whoop all the way to the other side. Yeah. And then they barely ever reintroduce that, first side they had, because they're so scared of it, because it was stressing them out. They were feeling so bad about it. They're like, I don't want to go back there. But understanding, like, it's okay to go back there. You just need to know when you need to be here, and you need to know when to be there.
Yeah, it's the same. It's all the same conversations before. Everything that we were saying before all relates to physical therapy, physical fitness, personal training, yoga, CrossFit. Like anything, if you want to be effective in your body, it's a mental, emotional, physical relationship. And so all of those same stories, it's all cool. Now we're here talking about physicality. There's really, it's the
same shit across the board.
Yeah, same shit. How you do anything is how you do everything. And if you want to start to change, working with certain clients, if a person's maybe more like fluid, feminine, flaky, they like to throw color at the wall and whatnot, but they don't really have any stability. Like that creativity is beautiful, but they could use some support. They kind of get mowed over by people in relationships, or they're kind of like they're their wife's bitch, or like any of that. It's like, no, you need some earth.
Lay it down.
Like you need some deadlifts, you need some squats, you need some cold plunge, you need like some time in the mountains and it just be like hard and rough. You need like some deep tone, voice. You need like, whoa. And that becomes medicine to start to balance that person out, to be more assertive in their life and also have more stability in their joints.
It's hilarious you said that, because I used to tell him all the time. He's like, well, why do you want to move to Puerto Rico? It's like, dude, I feel like I'm such a fucking bitch now. Like, everything is so easy for me. Like, I need like my light's broken. Like, I just call maintenance. Maintenance will fix it. You know, I need to mow my lawn. I just call somebody over, $40. They do it for me. I'm like, I fucking grew up in the country, like working on farms, doing construction, like fucking changing my own oil in my tires.
You're like, dude, I haven't been this tired in a while. Remember?
I've been going to bed at like fucking 7:30, 8 p.m. and waking up at, 4:30. I'm like, feel great though, right? Awesome. But it's because I'm doing more physical shit, that's also stressing my mind in ways that I haven't been able to do in a while. You know?
Yeah. And that feeds a certain part of the mind body that's, it's manual labor. I think, especially for a guy, is really important.
Oh, it's super important.
You get to have that gratification and sensation of like, cool, I got my hands dirty. I problem solved. I perhaps was exposed to sunlight and elements. Maybe it started raining. We had to pack up quick. I was squatting up and down. I probably did some teamwork with the community or the tribe. And then at the end of that, I get to step back and I get to look at the fence that I built. And I say like,
fuck yeah.
Wow.
Feel good.
Like that's spiritual shit.
Yeah. Yep.
Spiritual shit doesn't need to be crystals and beads.
Can even be building a car together.
You building a fence or a car. It's Zen in the art of motorcycle maintenance. Like, that is spiritual shit.
Going through that with my Land Rover.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing, and that sensation of gratification, it can be something that it goes much deeper than just, now I have a fence or my my Land Rover's awesome. It actually starts to I think it can heal trauma.
Yeah, and it really has brought me back to a much calmer state, I feel like. And I don't, maybe you would understand this better than I do, but when you are putting yourself through a situation of hardship, right, where you really need to challenge yourself, and the physical labor is great, but the mental side of it, like, okay, fuck, I can't get this piece to fit in the way that they said on the fucking YouTube video. Like, I have to fucking finagle it and put it in, and it's like that, like, figuring out the puzzle side of things, I think is just as important as the manual labor side, because it's like rewiring all of the creativity and the autonomy that you have in your own brain.
Yeah, and then probably in order to go through that problem solving, you probably had to move yourself to problem solve. So when you're problem solving on a computer, also good. A chess player is burning like an immense amount of calories, just sitting there like, thinking 10, 12, 13 moves in advance, like tons of calories. But that type of caloric expenditure is kind of different than most of the expenditure that the human species has been exposed to for millennia, depending upon your belief system. You believe in evolution, 6,000 years or whatever.
Yeah.
Still, we've been exposed for at least a few thousand years, depending upon what you think.
Oh, man.
The dinosaurs are put here to trick us.
Yeah. We all live inside of a dome.
Absolutely.
The ice wall.
It's a simulation. Like, I'm open to whatever. Like, whatever you're into.
Yeah.
If you've got like a smile on your face and you're passionate,
I'll entertain it.
And you're not hurting anybody.
I'll entertain it.
Fuck yeah.
Tell me more about how high is this ice wall? Is it thick or is it thin? Because like, I've been on thin ice. It's not very safe. Like.
Yeah, exactly. And the same thing, like with your own belief systems, acknowledging when you're looking out at somebody and you're seeing how completely batshit crazy you, from your lens, think that they are. It's like, I wonder who thinks that about me.
It's true. Right? It's true.
I definitely think people, ton of people are like, yo, you're out there, bro.
And so that comes back to the whole sacred clown thing and like the East Coast thing of being able to, like, with regularity, checking yourself, and saying, it's like, why did I do that? Or like, why do I dress the way I dress? Why did I get the car that I got? Like, why do I, like, all those little things, just having that awareness to just check in honestly and say, like, there's some other kind of pretense there, or is that fully authentic with the way that I'm showing up? And that's why it's great to be around people that are willing to bust your balls. Because it's a continued 100%. Like sharpening of the sword. Check, 100%. check. And then also on the other side, it's really helpful to have a hug.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah, and he always gives me the hug, so it ends up working out well, It's
great. Yeah. You need both. It's sleeping, waking, light, dark, Shiva 100%. Shakti, like all the things. Like this conversation is not the first time that people have had the talk of like balancing the two sides.
Especially in today's day and age, like we need that. You need to be able to like laugh at each other, like laugh at yourself, like. Not just like
take yourself less seriously.
Yeah, exactly.
Life's not that serious, man.
No. It's not.
It's not.
Enjoy
and
it.
It is. Like it is and it isn't.
yeah. Back to the balancing. We're gonna go full circle here.
Yeah, because if you're totally like nothing matters, man, and you kind of come into this what's the word? Nihilistic type perspective, that's also a problem. Because now you are potentially a liability to culture. Because ultimately you're bigger than yourself. So it becomes more evident when you have a family, which I don't, so talking to friends and kind of like attempting to place myself into their shoes and kind of like, oh, I see how it changes when you have kids. And it's not just, oh, I'm going to die. It doesn't matter. It's like, yes, you're going to die. It doesn't matter. Like I want my kids to have a good life and be in a good world. I want them to have soil that they can grow food in, and I want them to have an atmosphere that they don't bake themselves in, and I want them to have access to clean water, and I don't want them to be a part of World War III or 4 or 5, and I it's like, oh, okay, it does matter.
It's crazy because I'll tell you right now, having my little one starts making you think differently. Like you're like, why am I thinking all these weird thoughts? Like,
yeah.
Why? Like, what if this happened? But what if I have to be? It's like, oh shit, it's because I have my little girl. You know what I mean? Like,
so it's that same parasympathetic, sympathetic. Everything. It's like oh man, it all connects. So that parasympathetic, sympathetic, or maybe you could say myopic, panoramic view of when you're in the myopic focus of like, okay, get shit done, do right by my son, do right by my wife or girlfriend or home, community, and then being able to draw back and say like, well, ultimately we're all just one big organism. This is all just a bunch of unicity. And if you were to draw too focused into, say, like your bloodstream, and you would see some white blood cells attacking some pathogenic bacteria thing, you might look at that and be like, oh my God, like the war, the chaos, the travesty. But then you draw back, it's like, oh, I understand. That war is actually to support the greater organism. So it's being able to seamlessly go back and forth between that. That's the person that's, life is probably going to go the smoothest for that person. And they're probably going to have the greatest impact and fulfillment and all of that. I think.
Stuff.
Man, we've been talking about some fucking serious shit while also, having a ton of fun. I think that this is a great way to wrap it up. Aaron, thank you for coming on the podcast. I know Anthony's going to have one more final question for you, but I just want to say thanks for coming on.
Of course.
Been great getting to connect with you. We got to come out to Austin. We'll say what's up. Yeah, for sure.
Hit me up for sure.
Where can people find you, and where's your podcast at? How can they get your book?
Most people probably will just go to Instagram. So Align Podcast is the Instagram. And then from there, you can go all the other directions. The book is Align Method. It's anywhere. Support bookstores if they're, around. You can get it at Barnes & Noble or, any place like that. Brick and mortar would be awesome if you do. And there's an online program that you can keep on going in it. Eventually, what you'll see is the primary focus of what Align Method and Align and all that represents is simplistically, easily educating people on how to integrate more effective movement into their life, so that you're an athlete all the time. Like fitness isn't a thing that you do, but it's a thing that you are. And if you can learn the basic fundamentals of how to inhabit yourself, how to breathe, how to use your eyes, how to use your hips, how to use your ankles and your knees and your spine, life gets a lot more effective. And that's the main thing that I'm working on educating. So that's in the Align Method book and Align Podcast and
great,
all things.
Phenomenal.
Yo, Aaron, really appreciate your time, brother. Really appreciate everything you spoke of today. And, I know our guests are going to get a huge fulfillment out of this. And guys, again, make sure grab his book, get the alignment method. It's going to change you. It's going to help you, hopefully make you realize other new things that you might want to try out. And like we always finish on the podcast, we're going to hit you with that question. What is the biggest piece of advice you can leave off to all our listeners today in one single sentence? Getting you focused here.
I think the one thing, probably the same stuff we were talking about, just actively placing, maybe acknowledging that if you lived the identical life of someone else with the identical circumstances, identical parents, environmental conditions, and, cultural influences, you would be exactly that person.
Ooh,
that's enough.
That's heavy. That's heavy. Thanks again, Aaron. Appreciate you. Thank you all for listening. Wow, what an amazing podcast that was. Been waiting around for this one for a long time. Been a big fan of Aaron's for quite a while now. If you guys want to learn more about what he's got going on, make sure you listen to the Align podcast, anywhere podcasts are listened to. Make sure, like Aaron said, go to some brick and mortar store and pick up the Align method. Make sure you check out his online program as well if you're trying to level up and take things to, a new height for yourself, mentally, physically, emotionally. And if you really enjoyed this podcast and want to listen to more, make sure you support us by leaving a rating and review anywhere podcasts are heard, wherever you might be listening to them, as well as check us out on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification so you can stay up to date on all things about the Sweat It Out podcast. Appreciate you guys. Until next time, see you later.